Welcome to the Nausea River podcast. I'm Theo Morgan, back from hiatus and everything, and there's an episode I'm increasingly glad I scrapped. Well, there are quite a few, but the one I'm talking about wasn't an interview. Just a long-winded highlight of local music I saw in January, because that was most of what was offered. You read the title, and Drive-By Bukkake was one of the first bands I saw in 2025. An IQ-lowering onslaught of grindcore and pizza thrash that reminded me of metal's irreverent and fun side. And that side of the story is great. Their guitarist Jane is like one of my best friends now, and the whole band is way less annoyed with me than the average member of My Missing Half is. For other reasons, I call that mild and unassuming January 12th the night I got famous. The night I stopped being a struggling new podcaster and started to be a known figure, all due to being the right person. And the wrong person. It's not really worth getting into anymore. But whatever Faustian bargain I ended up making would have tainted the episode a lot. And without it, well, I'd still have to handle the creep at Napalm Death and Summer Gloom. At least that one was inevitable. Enough belly aching. Who is this anyways? I start off the episode with an introduction, so tell me a bit about yourself.
Right on. So thanks for having me. My name's Brian. I'm in a stupid death metal grind thrash band called Drive-By Bukkake. You can call us DBB if that's easier for you. We've been playing shows for about 20 years now. We're celebrating our 20th anniversary coming up in November. We're doing two shows, November 7th in Lowell, Massachusetts at Taffeta. And then November 8th, we're going out to Chester, New York for at Rushing Duck in New York. So I'm not sure if that gives you a brief summary of what I'm currently doing, but that's where I'm at.
Nice. And if you don't know what bukkake is, don't look it up. Just replace it with whatever you want. Meet Brian Thompson of Drive-By Bukkake. And we'll allude to it, but if you don't know what bukkake is, you're better off than I am. I mean it. It's fascinating to talk about the longevity of a project that by all means should have fizzled out with that sort of name. But, I'm glad they didn't. I met a lot of people at their show in January who are intelligent creatives, and everyone needed 30 minutes to turn off their brains and get some riffs, wrestling, and cum jokes. Be thankful for Drive-By Bukkake, and enjoy the interview. I want to start with how Drive-By Bukkake started, since that was around 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I've looked at your site, and you've at least retained some original members. You got
Yep.
Jane.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Jane and I were there. So I'll just do a brief history. I'm not
Mhm.
going to go through the entire thing, but I came up with the band name back in 2005,
Mhm.
where I was at a house party, and a bunch of us were leaving a party, definitely not sober, and we're just walking up this street, and for whatever reason, a bunch of cars are flying by us, and I said, wouldn't that be funny if like somebody just like bukkakeed on us, because we're just drunk, And then it was like it'd be like a drive-by bukkake. And then for whatever reason, that stupid drunk thought, here we are 20 years later, but a dumb thought turned into a dumb band name. I recorded a whole demo just like on drum kit from hell because I'm just a vocalist. I don't play guitar, I don't play bass or anything, but I can create riffs in my head and kind of put something together on software. And then from there, I got Jane involved for the guitar stuff, and the two of us just from there we just built that lineup out. And I don't want to go too deep, but our original drummer, we love him to death, Sam Hang. He used to be in a band called The Summoned, and that's our kind of our
Hey.
brother band actually. It's like our family, we've known them forever. So the three of us were the core unit from the beginning, from '05 to like 2012, something like that.
Yeah, I didn't make that connection with you in the summoned. I just, sometimes it's just like, oh, local bands, they all know each other.
Yeah, they all go way back. So yeah, Sam was the original drummer for the Summoned,
Hmm.
and my brother Steve is the vocalist of the Summoned. So like our two bands have been
Yeah,
tight forever.
you're like
You
spending
know?
Thanksgiving together.
Yeah, exactly. Talking about bukkake.
Yeah, I always say that the scene's really incestuous. Like, you can't offend me.
No, not at all. And I wouldn't even try.
The current lineup, it's you, Jane, Greg, and I don't know the other guy.
That's okay. He's just a bass player, so
Just
fuck
a
him.
yeah,
I'm just kidding.
just a bass player. So like, if he pisses you off, you just like use a backing track.
Yeah, we can use software for you. You know,
Yeah.
you know, that's Tim. Tim Brault. He's a very. It's funny. It's our four piece now. It's myself and Jane. We're like the core two
Hmm.
members there. We're there from the beginning. But the other two members, our drummer is Greg, Greg Murphy. I'm sure you've met Greg.
Hmm.
He was in a ton of bands, Obsidian Tongue for a while. He
Hmm.
was in Blood of the Gods. I'm gonna list four or five other bands. I can't even think of them, but he's had a few other bands. Alcyon, I believe. Um, so Greg, very, very good drummer. We've known him forever.
Hmm.
He joined us in about 2012, 2013. Could be wrong with that, but when Sam Hang was no issues with Sam Hang at all. Love him to death and
Hmm.
still do. He's gonna be a dad and do the family life and kind of just take a break from shows and band stuff and 100% totally get it, you know. So we had to get another drummer that we knew. That's where Greg Murphy filled in for Sam Hang, and that was 12, 13 years ago at this point. So we never had a bass player though. It was only a three piece. We always did a three piece, one guitar, one vocal, one drummer.
Yep.
Because we always kind of figured it's
The grindcore way of doing it.
very grindcore. Yes, very
Yeah.
grindcore. One less person to worry about, especially if it's like a jokey kind of band. So it's like another
Hmm.
person to, make room in their life for this dumb project, But so anyway, yeah, long story short, we ended up getting convinced to get Tim Brault from he's in a band called Goblet. I don't know if you know that band. Love those guys too. They're kind of a Western mass thrash band.
Hmm.
They've been around forever
I
too.
like.
Um, he was also he was the drummer of a band called Hive Smasher. Um,
Oh. Okay.
yeah, right. So he's a very good drummer. So we have two very good drummers in our band, and one of them just happens to be playing bass. So go figure.
I think it's fun, like interviewing quote unquote dumb bands. Like, because there's a lot of fun in heavy metal that I think some people want to discount. Like, I remember all the arguments like back in the 2000s, we're actually like really sophisticated. Our music's like it's closer to classical than pop. It's
Oh
just
my.
like, it depends what you're talking about. Like,
It probably is, but well,
you're
you
not
don't
like,
say it.
you're not all doing necrophagist, like
Sweeps
insane
and whatever,
sweeps and neoclassical picking. Some of you are just pizza thrash.
Yeah, yeah. Some of us are just knuckles on the ground. We're just dumb. Whenever I'm on stage, I've done so many shows. If I see people like kind of just cracking a joke, kind of laughing, smiling at us as we're playing, and not really moshing or throwing it down, and just if I see the audience kind of at least smiling a little bit, it like I'd take that over moshing any day. There's something about
Yeah.
seeing people like having a blast, having fun, and if they're thrown down too, that's cool too. But
Yeah.
like, there's something about seeing people smiling and taking us as like a fun joke and having a good time. Oh, it means the world to me.
Yeah. I think also like you can't expect it at every show because we're getting older.
No doubt, no doubt.
Yeah. I mean, I know some people my age and older still mosh, but I had a career-ending injury. I can't do it anymore.
Oh yeah,
Like
what did you win? What show?
oh, it wasn't a show. I was in a car accident.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
But
Sorry.
like
That
I think
sucks.
but yeah, but like it was still during the pandemic, so I'm just like, well, I'm not if I go back to concerts, it's gonna be a lot different. And it delayed me going back to concerts because I couldn't stand or not that well. So
For like bigger shows, that's fine. You can get a seat or,
yeah,
you can have some accommodation. But if you're talking like an O'Brien's gig
you're
or,
stuck at
like a
no,
Brighton Music Hall, standing room only.
O'Brien's is arguably like really good if you can't stand because you can just get a bar stool and you'll still have some level of line of sight because it's pretty small.
That's a good point. There,
I've done that. Not necessarily
yeah.
not due to injury, like honestly because I had friends who were hanging out near the bar.
Yep, no doubt. There's
Yeah.
some venues though where like the bar is like not a good angle for, to
Yeah.
catch the band, or if it's just there's like five stools and they're taken. So
Yeah.
I see where you're
Yeah,
coming
Ralph's
from.
has the five stools problem. I
Definitely.
love and I love Ralph's.
Yeah, we've played there a lot of times through the years, and
Yeah.
it's one of the worst load-ins because it's got that kind of curved set of stairs, and you're bringing a cab up there.
Hmm.
I'm a vocalist, so why should I complain? I got nothing to complain about, but I'm just bringing merch up there, you know. But
Yeah.
uh, so for anybody that has any sort of issue with traveling or just getting
Hmm.
around, Ralph's is unfortunately not very accommodating, no elevator access or anything
Yeah.
like that. So you're losing some people, but I still love Ralph's. We've played there. We played there with a band called Eat the Turnbuckle back, geez, I don't know, decade ago. It was like this kind of death match show upstairs at Ralph's where the band they had all these like doors and like weapons and chairs and pans and all the blood and violence that we love. They were doing that during their set, so that was a good time. But yeah, I love Ralph Steiner always.
Yeah. Like I know that your most recent show there was like outdoors with that was involved that wrestling show. And
Yeah, go figure.
I'm like, that's the most drive-by Bukkake thing, but having a death match during it, that's a little more.
Yeah, so I appreciate you bringing that up. That was back in May. It was for a show. It was a wrestling company called New Fear City.
Hmm.
They do deathmatch wrestling. It's violent. There's no ring, so there's no like ropes and dudes in spandex or anything. It's not like the traditional wrestling that you expect. It's brutal deathmatch wrestling. We're talking barbed wire, light tubes, all sorts, all the violence that you can think of. But it's weird because like when you go to Ralph's, and you've been to Ralph's, it's usually just a metal, three or four metal bands, and that's the attraction. You're there for four bands. You're there for cheap beers and good times. But for this case, we were a couple of bands that were thrown in the middle of a wrestling show. So like it was a band, our buddies in the band called Bodiless. Shout out to Corey. And then it was like a death match, wrestling match, and then it was us, and then like two more death matches. So like it was a weird, like we were like a nice side dish to this kind of entree of violence and well, death match wrestling. So that was pretty cool.
Are you a wrestling fan?
Definitely. Yeah,
Okay.
huge fans, been lifelong fans. We raised on that stuff from the 80s, 90s,
Hmm.
current product, everything. We any company, any of the feuds, anything that's going on, we're pretty up to date with that. And a lot of our samples and our songs are we have a lot of wrestling quotes and stuff
Okay.
like that. A lot of dumb spoof merch that's wrestling related. So I don't know if you're into wrestling or anything, but
I'm
yeah.
not at all. It's entire like it all went over my head, I'm gonna be honest. But like
Hey,
I've always been curious because in a lot of ways like the wrestling fandoms and and the metal fandom like I'm not gonna say like, oh, that Venn diagram's a circle just because there are so many wrestling fans and like, you're not filling up the garden. Let's just say that.
you ain't wrong.
But yeah, there are I'd say like there are definitely a lot of metalheads who are wrestling fans. I think especially if you're into not to be dismissive, but like simpler stuff. Like if you're a big thrash head, you like a lot of like a lot of old school stuff.
Yeah. You're so wrestling to me, there's so many good shows out there that's not wrestling content. Jump on any streaming platform, any program you watch, it's like really intelligent programming going on. A lot of good shows. It's talking multi-season story arcs and
Hmm.
everything. Tons of good characters. And sometimes you're just like fried on a Monday night or Thursday night and you're Wednesday night and you're like, I don't even want to think. I just want to smoke weed. I just want to have a cocktail or just eat some junk food and do like the dumbest thing and not even like, I don't want to process anything too much. Sometimes you're just fried. I consider wrestling that, it's like something that you really don't have to think much about. It's just it's a very intricate form of entertainment, but like if you want to shut your brain down, pro wrestling's the way to go. It's just something to watch for a few hours, and I lifelong fan, and I just love shutting my brain off, So,
Hmm.
so like, but you mentioned the crossover between pro wrestling and heavy metal. Not to chew your ear off, but like I actually used to host a podcast from 2012 to 2017. It was a 5-year show that we did. It was called Neckbreaker. It was a it was a pro wrestling and heavy metal show where I interviewed, or our team, myself, Jane, and our co-host Chris Casares. The three of us would interview pro wrestlers about heavy metal stuff, and we'd interview heavy metal people to talk about pro wrestling. So it was like a crossover concept where you get to hear bands talk about wrestling and hear wrestlers talk about heavy metal. So when you say wrestling, I could talk all day about it. So
No, that's actually really interesting.
yeah,
Um,
you're right though. It's that crossover. It does exist.
yeah, do you think it like engages the same dopamine receptors that metal does? And maybe there are just some people built to like it, or
You know, you're seeing people, you're seeing people in the ring,
hmm
men, women, whoever. You want to consider it like kind of moshing, sort
hmm
of like where there's an outward active moment where it's aggressive,
hmm
and you're letting out aggression. You're doing certain moves, you're seeing certain things. You're like, "Ooh, that was dangerous," or "That was sick," "That was awesome," "That was slow," "That was fast." Same thing with a band. Like when you're like maybe not even in the band, but if you're in a crowd watching a band playing, you're watching the band and they've definitely put their time in. They've practiced their songs. They've written these sick riffs, sick songs that they put together, and then you kind of watching the crowd. You see people head walking, stage diving, throwing down in the crowd. And it's kind of like this weird crossover of like violence and theater, you
hmm
know? So I think they both kind of do go together. I'm glad you brought that up. It's a pretty good point.
Yeah, I didn't understand wrestling at all until I heard someone explain it as modern day theater. And it's just
Yeah,
like,
okay.
you know what? That's a very interesting way to put it. And then it was part of like a longer video on like the history of like plot lines in the WWE. It's just like no, like it's theater, it's also soap operas for guys.
100%. Definitely. I'm
Yeah.
not even going to argue that. No way. It's soap opera for dudes. It's a way to shut off your brain. You get to see people who are very athletic, who
hmm
we know everything's choreographed and the finishes are predetermined. We already know that stuff.
hmm
So, but it's that risk. There's certain moves, whether they've talked about it 20 times over in the backstage area. Oh, let's do that spot, that spot, that spot, and then on the second spot, somebody tears their ACL or something. It's like it's theater with a lot of risk, a lot of physical risk. Even if they've prepped for every spot and every move they've been training for years, everybody screws up here and there. I trip on mic cables all the time on stage, and I've been hit with guitar heads, and I've been hit
hmm
with I've had stuff thrown at me, and it's like it's gonna happen. So I'm kind of just blabbing on here, but you caught my heart when you mentioned pro wrestling, so I
Oh
can go
yeah.
all day on that. But
Yeah. And I think there is definitely like an element to listening to metal that is physical because like I might not mosh anymore, but there's something that like feeling the pressure, like if I'm up front feeling the pressure of the crowd. There's a point, I mean, there's a limit to that. I've also gotten some nasty bruises. There's one time I like I got my arm pinned under someone like while up front and like my whole upper arm was just purple for weeks.
so you're like on the guardrail there, like
Yeah, this was at
oh
Brighton Music Hall, so like they have a
yep,
barricade and it's solid, more or less. It's like solid mesh.
yes,
And
yep.
like I lost my footing while someone crowd surfed and like someone else pinned my arm like against themselves and the barricade and it hurt.
You're getting the shit kicked out of you there.
Yeah, but like just a little bit of pressure, like especially around, like not being pinned, but feeling it like on your back, like you're like, oh, like the crowd's really, really intense. Like that's a good feeling. And also like when it's loud, you feel it. You like if a show is loud enough, you really do feel it in your bones. It's not exclusive to metal though. Last night, recording this October 7th, so October 6th, I saw the post-rock band Swans, and that was
Oh,
the
where did
loud
they play?
Paradise.
Oh,
They
right on. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was one of the loudest shows I've been to. Like I use ear protection because I'm not dumb,
Yep.
and I still could not hear correctly afterwards.
It's yeah,
But
Paradise. It's a weird venue too because it's all like it's a very wide stage, right? Like it's
yeah,
it's like too wide, right?
yeah,
It's like all width.
and they usually don't let bands get that loud there. That's a major complaint I've heard.
Yeah, I think I saw Andrew WK there, and where again I'm going back probably 10 years, but
Yeah.
like it was loud, but it could have been louder. Sometimes you're right though.
Hmm.
You want to feel it. Like you
Yeah.
can wear hearing protection and whatever, and if you're not wearing hearing protection, it's
It's not
it,
fun.
and it's I really got to stress that, and I don't know if people are just lazy or it's just like it's just not cool or whatever. No, I don't. Who cares? Does that mean you hear that? I hear that from people in other bands, people who go to shows, and I see so many people that don't have. I know it's not hearing protection, but
Yeah, but
something in their ear.
let's imagine the AirPod will do something.
Yeah, that was a visual cue. There you
Yeah.
go. But like when I don't see that, I'm like, maybe you don't care right now. Maybe you're early 20s or maybe you're barely a teenager or you're in your 30s and you're like, who cares? Who gives a shit?
Hmm.
Later you is going to give a shit. When you're like 50 and you're saying, "Huh? What?" to like all your friends,
Yeah.
you're going to care about that.
Yeah,
So yeah, anybody listening,
I have like mild tinnitus from when I didn't wear earplugs. So it matters a lot to me.
big
And like
time. Yep.
I'm just some girl who goes to concerts. I mean a lot now, but it used to not be as much. And yeah, like it's going to be even worse if you're regularly going to shows, if you play music.
Yep.
Um and speaking of having seen you at O'Brien's, that place can get real loud. They don't give a shit.
Not at all. They don't give a shit. No way.
No,
It's not a big
you were
cap
still,
either.
yeah, you were not the loudest band I've seen there. Because later in January, I saw a Monolithic Dome and Wrong, two noise bands, ears ringing, nothing to,
Definitely.
no abs, like no recourse. Wonderful show though.
Yeah, we so Jane, Jane
Yeah.
will crank that cab as loud as possible and then double it. I assume Jane is partially deaf, and if Jane's listening, I'm not wrong. Um, you so she'll crank the cab on stage, and it's tough for me as a vocalist to be able to hear my vocals. I never do. But I think the only thing that kind of works in our favor, luckily, is that we only have one guitar player.
Hmm.
If we had two Janes in our group, where like double the cab, or like these other noise bands, other grind bands, other doom death metal bands that get double cab, forget it. I wouldn't be able to hear anything. So,
Double the cab,
uh,
half the IQ.
there you go.
Yeah. No, I love seeing Jane just out and about. We hang at shows pretty often.
I've known Jane since kindergarten,
Oh my
surprisingly,
God.
so a very long time. So yeah, Jane and I we've been in this band for a very long time, been friends forever. And Jane, if you're listening, we all love you. We got your back, and I'm glad that you get to catch up with Jane at shows and stuff because that's it's good to know that she's going out having a good time.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and yeah, I've learned that she's much more of a doom head than I thought. Because I've seen her at like I Hate God and the
Yep.
Doom and Girl Fest.
Yeah, yeah. Surprisingly, I caught Jane at a I don't know if you were there or if you heard about it. There's a show that was in Henniker, New Hampshire last weekend, the
Hmm.
Dysfunction Junction. It was about
Yeah.
20 different kind of New Hampshire mass bands like Graveborn, Fabricator,
Hmm.
The Summoned were on there. A bunch of New Hampshire bands, Conforza, shout out to those guys as well. And I'm sure I'm forgetting a few others that were on the show that weekend. But yeah, I caught Jane there and it was like way up in Henniker, New Hampshire. I'm like, Neither of us told each other we were going to that show, and I saw Jane there. I was like, well, I didn't expect you to be here. That's funny, you know.
Yeah.
You never know where you're gonna see people.
Yeah, I think yeah, Sludge is kind of like the it's the other side of the coin to to grindcore for like I think it reaches a similar primal place, but it's a lot slower, and you have a lot more time for everything to sink in.
Right. Yep, definitely. You kind of less riffs, kind of
Hmm.
letting stuff breathe a little, you know?
Yeah, yeah, but like it's not like Sludge is well, there can be pretentious sludge, but I think like the bands that started the genre are real like there's nothing lofty about them. It's all about personal failures and heroin.
Better ride.
Yeah.
They're life's way too short for any pretentious feelings or
Hmm.
negative vibes, like or big leaguing. I don't know
Hmm.
how to describe it, but yeah, life's way too short. We don't got time for that, you know. And everyone just be cool, and play some sick shows, play some sick riffs, and have a good time.
So, having been around for 20 years, you've definitely played a lot of live shows. I got a couple questions related to that.
Sure.
Which bands have been your favorite to play with?
So I'm gonna do a shout out to a bunch of our homies because we yeah, 20 years of shows, 20 years of mass shows, New Hampshire shows. We've done a bunch of East Coast tours, played Canada a few times, mostly kept to the East Coast, and we're planning on West Coast stuff down the road. But um, our homies in Dysentery, they've been they've been grinding even longer than we have. Heavy stuff going. They're all homies. Massachusetts kind of New York vibe now, but love all those guys to death. And they just dropped a new music video today on October 7th. It's on YouTube somewhere. New album's coming out next month too, I think. Can't wait for that shit. The Summoned, of course, they've our brother band. We've played a million shows with them, done many tours with them. Shout out to those guys because we love them. We've been up and down the roads with them, and we wouldn't have it any other way. They're going to be with us on that show on Friday, November 7th at Taffeta in Lowell, Massachusetts for our 20th anniversary bash. So our homies in Fabricator, Bodiless, Sepsistic, Anti-Sapien, Hive Smasher, all those dudes, Pathogenic. I'm trying to think of a few. Bastard Curse. We haven't played with them yet, but we know all those homies. Conforza, Graveborn, Womb Eater. Um, there's going to be more. Our homies in Los Bungalitos, Chris Casares and the, Casares Entertainment System. He's with Grotesqueries now.
Mhm.
Aetherius Kings. Sorry if I'm just dumping a bunch of names on
No,
you,
it's
but like
fine.
these are all bands, whether they're old bands, new bands, current bands. These are all homies that over time you just like you end up on these shows with them constantly, or you end up just being around them at other shows. And there's a thing where like when you're booking out a show, if you're like a band, and like for our case, we're doing that in our anniversary show at Taffeta, November 7th. First thing we did was we're gonna pick our friends' bands. That sounds wicked high school and cliche, and call it whatever you want, favoritism, but you want your friends around you. If you know people are cool, good homies, good bands who are gonna um, not only have a good time, but maybe bring some kids out and set the right mood. You're gonna book your friends' bands. Any promoter that argues otherwise is just lying. So like in our case, we booked all of our friends' bands, and but yeah, those are some of our buds over the 20 years that we've played with and we enjoy playing with.
What is the most train wreck show you've played?
Love that question. I love that
Yeah.
question. And I got to put it on the record. I didn't give you that question or anything like that. So you're asking me some good stuff. And, some bands will like give the host, oh, here's a bunch of questions, and we'll have predetermined answers. And that was a great question. I've never been asked that one. So like, a train wreck I can think of. Top of my head, kind of a train wreck, but not really. We booked one of our first tours. We're going back to, I don't know, 2008. And we did like maybe 5 or 6 dates, kind of East Coast, but we went all the way out to a town called Lima, Ohio. And The show, it was the shits. Nobody showed up. The bartender and the sound guy were the only two people there. And I couldn't even say if the band members showed up for the other touring bands, other local bands. I feel like it was bartender, sound guy, one other band, and then us two touring bands, which is Drive By and The Summoned. Um, Anyway, nobody there. It's a Sunday night in Lima, Ohio. It was literally the other side of the tracks. If you've ever been to a town where you go to the other side of the tracks and it's
Hmm.
just like just a terrible, terrible area. Sorry, Lima, it was. But like uh, nobody. We played to our brother's band, and they played to us. And at the end of the night, though, so when you think it's like the worst shitty show, the sound guy ends up going, "Oh, I'm so sorry, nobody came out. There was whatever excuse. It's a Sunday, blah, blah, blah." You hear them all. He goes, "Oh, well, let me give you something anyway." And he gives me a Shure SM58 microphone. And um, that's it's $100 microphone. It's not like a piece of shit, just like a $20 Amazon or Radio Shack mic or whatever. It was like a really good Shure microphone, and he said, "Let me give you this for your troubles, just for coming out here." So, and I held that. I still use that mic today for any of my live shows for when we're playing Drive By. I still have that SM58 microphone from 2008. It's anybody listening that's like into microphones and stuff. It's not an exceptional mic. It's just the gold standard for live shows. So I wish that I had a better shitty show story for you off the top of my head, but for a really garbage show to turn into getting a microphone, it's kind of a win-win.
That's actually that's really cool.
You know?
Without I guess like, oh, my bandmates didn't show up.
Half of them wanted to go drink in the parking lot. I'm not gonna lie. They're just like, why even go in? No one shut up. I'm sure there's others, but top of my head, that's the show example I can give you.
What was the best year out of all these 20 for Drive-By Bukkake?
Best year. Slurp of water there. Um, every band's like, "Oh, the new album that we put out's our best shit. The latest tour we did, the current tour we're doing, the current project's the best thing we're doing." They always say that. Um, the tour, we had a lot of struggle during the tour, but
And
we
which
did like
year
a
was
10.
this?
So I'm gonna say 2024 actually. So,
Okay.
last year we did in 2022 we put out an album called Bastards of Slime.
Hmm.
But we kind of just did some random weekends, some New England stuff here and there, but we didn't do a proper like 10-day tour, like a 10 or 12-day tour just to like
Hmm.
hit the East Coast and be on the road with the buds. So 2024, we did our Bastards of Slime tour. Every show, the crowd was so good. Everyone was losing their shit, and I'm not like just like trying to like pat myself on the back. I'm the vocalist, so I see it. All the kids were losing their shit. We were selling a ton of merch. Every show was like well attended. Everything just like worked really good. We had a bunch of bullshit van trouble in the middle of the tour, but besides that, the whole thing, we went all the way down to Miami for what was called the Heavy Metal Beach Party. And what that is a party right before the 70,000 tons of heavy metal cruise. So like there's that annual metal cruise that goes out of Miami with
Hmm.
60 bands, and I've been on it a bunch of times. I haven't played it, and we want to, by the way. Wink, wink, if anyone's
Hmm.
listening. Um, but we did this whole tour. We booked a whole tour pretty much around an opportunity where we got asked to play the pre-party right on South Beach in Miami. It was right at the Clevelander Hotel, which is like, I don't know if you've been to Miami or you know the area, but there's South Beach and there's that main strip right there.
Hmm.
We played an outdoor stage right there, which is insane. So it was a huge turnout. All the metalheads who were coming to the cruise, come to this pre-party to, have some cocktails, have a good time. But that whole tour, I'm sure we've got other examples of great years, but that year, to me, that was a really good year for us. We had a great time in that tour. So
Nice.
2024, you know?
Yeah. And I want to know your worst, but there is a caveat. You cannot say 2020.
Oh, the COVID years, right? Everyone's
Yeah.
like, oh, well, yeah, obviously every band had everything canceled that year, of course.
Yeah.
Bunch of shows, and then you'd have a lot of local shows in like 2021, 2022, where like the show would get announced, but everyone's like hesitant. There were like restrictions for the number of people that were okay. Well, we could do a metal show, but everyone has to wear masks, and everyone we can only do a quarter of the capacity in the room. And it's like, okay, so we can play to a room of like 20 people,
And you're
like
not,
I
and like
remember all
you're
this.
barely getting paid.
Yeah, yeah, no barrel.
Because like
Okay, so
all,
20
yeah, because
people.
like all these, like the reason why I say like you can't choose 2020 is because like, if I ask that to any band and I didn't put the caveat there and say like, oh, 2020, like we all went bankrupt, my favorite venue closed, like I lost my job, stuff like that. Like
Right,
there's
yes.
gonna be the worst story ever. And I know that the answer could be like, oh yeah, 2021 still sucked. But it was
Let's
at least
exclude
an
that. That's an easy answer.
it was at least an awkward time, like where some things were opening up.
Yep. And that's the easy answers to give you the COVID year. I'm not going to give you that though. 2023,
Okay.
we did we booked a show in Lowell at a bar called, it's just top of my head. It's the only story I can think of at the top of my head. We booked a show at a little dive bar called the Worthen. I don't know if you know about Lowell, Massachusetts.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Upstairs in the Worthen, right?
Hmm.
So if anyone's listening, shout out to Lowell, Massachusetts. We're coming back November 7th, but not at the Worthen, but at Taffeta up the road. Anyway, so we booked a show at the Worthen. It was ourselves, our homies in Chain to the Dead, and a couple other bands. I believe it was Fabricator and Constantly Terrified.
Pretty
But the
solid.
Worth and Ups, yeah, great lineup for
Hmm.
all of our friends' bands. A great show. So the Worth and Ups is an upstairs music venue, very, very tight room. We're talking, I don't know, you can fit maybe 75 people
Hmm.
out there, maybe.
So it's O'Brien's size.
O'Brien size, little upstairs O'Brien's vibe. So
Hmm.
anyway, upstairs is where the bands are playing. We had four metal bands. Everyone's just being cool, just having drinks, just doing nothing, just doing metal shit. You're buying merch. Everyone's just talking. Everybody knows everybody. Downstairs, though, so three of the bands have played already. Right before we're on last because we booked the show and we were playing last. Um, Huge bar brawl breaks out downstairs at a separate bar. So the Worthen has two bars, the upstairs venue for the bands and the downstairs for the local townies or whoever. Huge bar brawl breaks out. And I saw some clips online on social, like bar stools getting thrown at people, like people getting hit in the head, blood and everything. It was brutal, but like huge bar brawl, and you think like, oh, it's got to be the shitty metalheads that are having a dive hardcore grass, thrash grind show upstairs. No, no, wasn't us metalheads. We were just minding our own business, having a show upstairs, making some noise, causing no trouble. It was the local dudes who were getting drunk, probably tapped somebody on the wrong shoulder. Huge bar breaks out, huge brawl. Anyway, the cops show up and they shut down the entire venue, not just like the downstairs area. They come up and say, show's over, everyone go home, get the hell out of here. And we literally set up all of our gear. We set up everything. We did all of sound checks. We're ready to play, and the cops walk in. So it's like one of those things is just like, I'm not saying that's the shittiest show we played, but that was the shits. That was terrible to, if a show shuts down, fine. But to be able to do a sound check and be like, okay, we're like a minute away from starting, and then the cops walk in after doing a load in of gear all day and like just being there all day prepping for this thing. Yeah, that sucked. Sorry. Like that was a shitty night. And luckily we made up for it and had other shows that weekend. But man, that's just that's it's just like just when you think the demographic is like, oh, it's just loud, violent metalheads who are causing a ruckus and moshing and fighting. No, no. It was the townies downstairs who have their normal 9 to 5 jobs and weren't metalheads at all who got this whole thing shut down. So
Yeah, it's like it's controlled chaos for metal.
there
I've
you
seen
go.
very
Yep.
few like actual altercations. Like I'd say
Yeah.
like a lot of it's probably because I tend to stay with people my own age, and we're too old for that shit.
You said it.
Like,
You said it.
yeah, like half of us have gone sober. Like the other half is just like not going to be inclined to, have a criminal record at age 35.
Yeah, like what are we doing? Who cares?
Yeah.
Like why are we fighting? Like
Yeah. Or it's like even for younger metalheads, I remember there was a lot of discourse around like, moshing versus spin kicks and hardcore dancing and stuff like that. And like
yeah,
the rhetoric
crowd
was
killing.
often like, crowd killing, spin kicks, like fighting invisible ninjas,
Yeah, there you
as they
go.
say. Like that's the shit that gives us a bad reputation because people actually get hurt. My opinion on that is I'm not part of hardcore culture. I'm not gonna say anything about how their scene is run. And no, I don't think metal's reputation is ruined by a few kids like trying to show off their moves.
Not at all, and I agree with you.
Yeah. Especially
There's
like yeah, especially in like, borderline genres. Like there's a lot more crossover with death metal and hardcore than people want to admit. And not just like with true deathcore bands it's we're just talking 200 stab wounds here.
love those dudes.
Oh yeah, I love 200 stab wounds, and love Sanguisuga Bog. Can't deny it. They're
Yeah.
like a bunch of hardcore kids who decided to switch genres.
Let's just go even heavier, Like I don't know
Yeah,
if you saw that footage.
Let's kill a few people and play murder ball.
Pretty much,
Yeah.
and like you saw maybe last year, I think it was Dying Fetus playing.
Hmm.
I wish I knew the name of the hardcore fest down in Florida, but it was like a whole day of hardcore band, and then you had Fetus headlining, and it was
Yeah.
like we know that crossover is there. The hardcore kids want to throw down to brutal death metal riffs. Everyone
Hmm.
loves Dying Fetus, so like then when you see that stuff in the crowd, you mentioned controlled chaos. It's true.
Hmm.
Like if you're at a death metal show or a hardcore show, grind, whatever, you kind of know where the action's gonna be. Like it's not like,
Yeah.
I mean, you get a little crowd killing here and there, people like kind of hitting people at a kind of like right near the main circle there. But like if you're like way the hell behind the bar with the old dudes like me, like if somebody hits you, then they were coming for you like they were really coming for you.
Yeah.
It wasn't like an accidental.
There's definitely a level of informed consent there because like,
Yeah.
you know, I probably stand too close to the pit for someone who can't really be in it anymore. But and I understand that I'm gonna get pushed a little.
Informed consent's a good way to put
Yeah,
that.
like
It's
if things are getting really bad, I move or I make my boyfriend protect me.
yeah, yeah, just get in front here, just block me a little.
Let me hug you.
I do that to my wife. I put her in front and say, give me a
Hey,
little coverage here.
hey,
Love you, Sarah.
we're all about equality between the genders here.
That's right.
Women,
Absolutely.
yeah, and I've seen some girls be able to throw down in the pit.
100%. Especially as a vocalist, I've seen that I sometimes have the best view
Hmm.
of that. When you're looking down on that crowd, and I'm not saying we're playing to hundreds of people, but I've
Hey,
seen
those
people
20
throw down.
people and like the
Those
two
20 people
girls
are
that
losing
go
their
to the
shit.
drive-by Bukkake show.
Those girls are losing their shit. They're really hardcore, They're really throwing down,
Yeah, there's
But
there's like a certain kind of mosher I see. If it's always someone who's either female or non-bi or probably non-binary, like
yep,
like N95 mask, and they are absolutely crushing the crowd. And it's
killing it. They're letting out some sort of brutal hatred they may have for something, some sort of energy they need to get out of their body, and they are taking it out
yeah,
on
and I
just about anything that looks at them, which is awesome. I love that shit.
yeah. No, I'm mosh supportive. I'm just also old.
Tell me about
Born in the
it.
1900s.
I love that.
I can't take credit for it, but I use it all the time. Like especially if I hear about any scene drama, like I get interested and I'm like, wait, I was born in the 1900s and you guys
Yeah.
don't remember 9/11.
What's 9/11?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, like it feels like such a generational difference. Like
Big time,
someone who's
yeah.
just a few years younger than me doesn't have much memory of 9/11 at all. It does feel like we grew up in very different times.
Yes, and I'm not going to discredit them because they were born at a different decade. I
Yeah.
just can't do that. That's not fair either. But like every generation has their historical moments that they greatly relate to. Like
Hmm.
hell, I was born in '84, so I probably have, I don't know, I was a '80s, '90s, 2000s kid or whatever. But there's people I can't. God, I'm sure this will be a headline on some news website, but I can't take like Pearl Harbor, for example.
Yeah.
9/11 was my Pearl Harbor. I know how brutal and terrible
Hmm.
that was. But I related more to 9/11. I'm not saying I related to it, but because of my age, that
Hmm.
affected me more, you know. But like but yeah, every generation's going to have a significant event that they relate to more, and they think of the old ones in the past, and they don't relate to as often because they just weren't that right age. It's like whatever band you listen to from, I don't know, from age 12 to 21, that like
Hmm.
those bands are staying with you forever. They
Yeah.
are, or like
That's why we're both here in on the metal podcast.
that's right. That's why we're
What,
here on Nausea River.
yeah, what was your favorite band as a teenager?
Oh, as a teenager. Okay, so I was a big new metal kid, right?
Okay.
So like 90s, of course,
Hmm.
no shocker. The thing is I listened to so much music. I'm not going to give you, oh, I enjoyed everything. Top of my head, I'm just going to say if we're talking like the 90s, probably Korn. At that point, Korn dropped that self-titled album about 94, 95. We rode that till late 90s, and then all the new metal bands from there, your Limp Bizkits, your
Hmm.
everything that went from there. But if you're talking 90s, I'm gonna say Korn. You're like, go to bed, Grandpa.
No, I I respect Korn quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I'm not I was never I didn't have a new metal phase. That could be showing my age because I was about 10 years younger than you. If I
So then you get a 2000s phase.
Yeah,
So
and
we're
2000 and
talking,
2000 like I don't know, a lot of 2000s like hard rock and new metal. It's not for me. At
I
most
think
like I
My
like
Chemical Romance, maybe. I love
yeah.
My Chemical
No,
Romance. I'm trying to like think of a mid
I
2000s.
know like I'm like if I was to think of like gateway bands that I did kind of like or was a very big fan of. Like, I think of like my gateway into metal was Nightwish. Because like if you're
Oh,
talking about the mid 2000s, like they dropped once and like everyone went crazy. You could find their shirts in Hot Topic.
that's
And
true.
like while I wasn't big into him, like that's the other like big thing in Finnish rock and metal that crossed over to the US and like every mall goth and emo kid like had a big crush on Billy Vallow.
That's true.
Yeah.
Nightwish, though, yeah. Have you seen Nightwish
Yes.
live?
Yes,
Yeah.
I've seen them twice. They were my first live band in 2008.
Oh, okay. So,
They would have had Annette Olson as then, and I saw them with Floor in 2018, but I never saw them with Tarja.
2018, that would have put them. Was that the Palladium Decade show? Like
Yes.
where they with
Yes.
they gave you a CD when you showed up
I
there,
did not get
right?
a CD. I did
Oh,
not get a CD. And I had pepper spray in my keychain. They took it away.
Palladium. Come on. What are we
Yeah,
doing?
because like no, like I think it's probably because I'm a little more known now, but like there are other venues where like I've brought the pepper spray thing with them. They're like, oh, we'll just check it at we'll just like have someone hold it at the door for you. That's not every venue, but
No, but still, it's like
I
what?
did like and I did
What are
like
we doing?
I can't drive. I didn't have a car, so I'm like, goodbye pepper spray and put it in the trash.
Yeah, it's like
And so like after
this.
that point for a while I had to be careful about where I carried that thing because I had to
Right.
like just disarm it from my key. My keys were like some yeah, I know I can't drive. My keys were to like my apartment and like some other miscellaneous things like and stuff like that.
Nightwish, yeah. So, so did you go into a power metal route from there?
Yeah, I was a power metal teenager, but then quickly swi I quickly switched gears to like death and doom metal.
Yep.
I had a bit of like an atmospheric black metal phase, which I think that still carries on. But when
Power
I have
metal. I never left power metal.
no
I'm a
power
huge
metal.
power
I
metal
mean,
guy.
like I've kind of I still like exploring power metal. Like I think I just like how like it really
You could
depends
say
on the
it's cheesy.
band.
It's cool.
Like some of
It's
them
very...
are cheesy. Like the cheese has to hit right. Like I think there are bands that like they try to copy like what Rhapsody of Fire or like Stradivarius does, and they just don't do it as well. It's just like
Stradivarius is my top. They're like my top three band of all time. I
yes,
love Stradivarius.
I love
Yes.
those guys.
Oh,
I think they are kind of like to me they're the platonic ideal of European heavy metal or European power
yes.
metal. Like
They
that's what I want them to be. I want some neoclassical sweeps, some great like harpsichord setting on your keyboard. Um, I
double
want
kick
Timo
pedal the entire
Codapelto.
song. You
I just want Timo
know?
Codapelto there.
Pretty
Maybe
much
just for
just
maybe just for moral
T-Timos.
support. I love that guy. The Finnish heavy slash power metal band Taro. That's like my favorite band of all time. Uh,
Tarot.
so
Okay.
Taro, they've been around since God knows when, like since the 80s, and they are the original project of Nightwish's former bassist Marco Hietala. Like him
Oh,
and
that's
his
a deep cut.
brothers, yeah, him and his brother started that band like 82.
I'm gonna have to hit that up after because
Yeah,
my power metal is huge. I haven't gone down
yeah,
the
they
tarot
have.
path.
I'd say it's like a little more heavy metal than power metal, but you can hear the influence. You can hear like, oh yeah, they're friends with Stradivarius. And on their 1998 album For the Glory of Nothing, they actually did get Timo Codapelto to do their backing vocals.
Of course they did.
Of course they did. Um, yeah,
Cool.
that's like I don't mention them much because like there's this Australian band Taro that kind of overshadowed them in terms of the name. And like everyone just thinks of I feel like everyone thinks I'm talking about them. It's like no, it's Marco from Nightwish's band. And he's now no longer Marco from Nightwish, but like no one
Yeah,
else that he's never gonna be able to shake that.
he's always gonna be from Nightwish.
Yeah,
I'm
like
always gonna be from a Bukkake band. That's just what it is. You know.
yeah, sometimes you strike gold, sometimes you strike semen.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
Yeah. This is an explicit language podcast. I can say what I
That's
want.
right.
Oh, like for the first episode of this podcast, since it was like all scripted, I'm like, okay, I can just let me see what I can write without swearing. And that never lasted. Couldn't do it again.
Nope. No.
Nope. Nope. We are especially for interviews, because like I'll just like I'm a potty mouth by nature, so I'll just like drop F-bombs left and right. Uh,
It's a podcast, so like you can
yeah.
have that freedom. If you
Yeah.
feel so restricted.
Yeah, especially on like a very manly subject, so to speak. Even
Bukkake's for everybody.
Bukkake is for everybody. At the very least, like there's no limit on the target.
That's right. We don't judge.
Yeah,
Everybody's a target.
I think we need to I think we need to get you on a bill with Tears from a Grieving Heart. One I know you
Let
get
it ride.
along. One I know you'd get along because I know Jane gets along with them really well. Like she's just friends with the band, much like I am.
We're ready to go. That
We're
sounds
ready to go.
awesome.
That's it. Like that's it. That's it. Like
Sold.
grind plus funeral doom. Strange
Sold.
bedfellows, but
Uh,
I've seen worse cross genre bills. I've seen stuff that makes even less sense. And
the
sometimes
mixed bills
yeah,
are
mixed
great. I
bills.
love that.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, like speaking of Tears from a Grieving Heart, I saw them sandwiched between like a bunch of like acoustic folk bands at Summer Gloom. It was glorious. It was one of the best lineups I'd ever seen.
Uh, Everybody listens to music. Correct me if I'm wrong. Everyone listens on shuffle anyway, most of the time. If you're
I
on
don't.
your
Well,
playlist.
actually, I do listen to Shuffle more because like put me alone. I'm not a playlist maker. I just like I listen to albums. So I'm actually very
Same.
bad. I'm very bad at naming songs.
So like when that album done, so depending on your platform, it usually kind of just feeds you into something else, right?
Yeah, and
Like
then
it's
I'm
like,
like,
okay,
ew. I'm like, ew, stop playing this. Let me go to another
sometimes you're
album.
like, no, no, I don't want to hear that shit. No, no, I want to hear
But
another
now,
album.
like
And
with my boyfriend, we have this 31-hour playlist for driving. And yeah, we just put that shit on shuffle.
shuffle and let it ride, you know?
And like that can be really fun because it's just like there are no rules. It's just we put on songs we want to hear while driving. And it's an absolutely glorious mixture of black metal, death metal, sludge metal, ambient, bluegrass, post rock.
As shows should be, I think, you know,
Yeah.
like that mixture of genres. I know you can't like stray too far from the path. You know, if you're trying to book a live show and you really go too far with genres, you do have like a weird crossover, or some
Yeah.
fans just leave. You know, they just
Yeah, I
like,
think
we're
you
out of
I
here.
think I think you need to consider the fan base because there's post rock is one of those things where like I've seen plenty of post rock live. I always see metalheads I know there. Like
Yep.
it's a guarantee. Um and that's how I became a post rock fan because people are like, "Oh God, you gotta listen to Godspeed You Black Emperor. You seem like you'd be a Godspeed You Black Emperor fan." And they're right, one of my favorite bands ever.
Go
Um
figure.
like I think you'd get a lot of pushback if you're like put like a country band with metal with certain kinds of metal at least. Because there are metalheads who like country, but there are a lot of metalheads who hate country.
Oh, yes, and your audience will
Yeah.
split up from there, you know?
Yeah. I feel like rap, like there used to be more of a rivalry than there is now. I was at this small
Yeah.
festival in Gardner, central Massachusetts. It was mostly rock and metal until like in the middle they just put on two New York rap acts, and it was glorious. Like the crowd of probably a dozen people, but bear with us. Like everyone was going nuts for it, and I'm like, this is actually some great energy. Like we got more in common than we think.
The festival vibe, the outdoor festival, like an RPM Fest or
Yeah.
Summer Gloom or anything like that, anything where you have options,
Hmm.
like if it ain't your vibe, if you're like, I don't want to hear some dude rapping from upstate New York or whatever, and you can
Hmm.
kind of go somewhere else in the festival grounds, that's perfect.
Yeah, this is
If
just
you're
it.
like, if it's like an O'Brien's and it's like a death metal band, country act, rapper, something else,
Yeah.
then it's like you're kind of trapped. Like you don't have like your only escape is to just straight up leave.
Yeah, and
But a festival definitely works.
in this case, like the metal bands they're with is like all sludge metal. And there's something about rap and sludge that I think actually goes together, especially if it's like all Southern style.
Weed's the word you're looking for. It's
It's
just
weird. It is.
everyone's
I was gonna
straight
say
up
like it's working class struggles, it's simplicity, it's rhythm, it is weed.
weed, straight up. Everyone's just token.
Yeah. I was gonna try to make a deeper point, but we don't need to.
You were going the right way, but yeah, I think it just breaks down to weed,
Yeah.
which is great. Whatever gets people together.
Yeah. Although back to the subject of your band, I know you I know you've said that like you've threatened to work on new stuff.
We will.
You will.
Yeah, so we did so this year was supposed to be our writing year. We're supposed to
Yeah.
be spending the entire year writing a new album. But when we decided to do these anniversary shows, for every time you book a show, it kind of sets you back a few months because the marketing and
Hmm.
frankly the time to prep the set list. For an anniversary show, it's going to be a lot of our older stuff, and it's stuff from our full discography.
Hmm.
So we have to take the time instead of like writing new riffs and being dumb together. We just have to be playing old songs and being dumb together. So in this case, we are pausing our writing right now until our anniversary is done in November. And then the winter's going to come and then boom, we're going right back into writing mode. All new songs, whole new album. We got to figure out if it's either going to be an album or an EP, something, a lot of bands are doing like EPs or just single releases now, but Definitely full blown writing mode after November. So it's coming.
I sometimes need to turn off my brain and run to a wall.
True.
And also like I went to your show at O'Brien's at the beginning of the year completely blind. And I'm like, no, I'm actually having a lot of fun. Like
Hey,
I gotta say like thrash and grindcore are like the two genres I listen to the least in metal, especially thrash. There's some grind I like.
it
But I'm just like,
that
why
that
am
means
I
the world to us. You know
yeah.
that
I'm like,
you
why am I
would
having so much fun?
yeah, like you gave us a
It's the
chance.
yeah, it's the I think it's the magic of death metal. Death metal makes a lot of things better. Like I
100%. And
yeah,
we have very minimal. A quarter of our songs have death metal parts in them. A quarter, not even.
yeah,
That's even being generous. Like
yeah,
we have some occasional slam parts, and we're like, oh, that's some brutal death metal shit. But a lot of
yeah,
it's kind of a grindy, thrashy kind of
yeah, very
somewhat of a death metal mix, but not we're
yeah,
not a full blown death metal band. I'm not even gonna pretend like we were, but
yeah. And I think
um
that was the right lineup to be on because I would not call My Missing Half and Fallen Monarch like anywhere close to pure death metal either.
no, not at all.
Fallen
Or
Mon
in Sky
yeah.
Pillar was like kind of
Sky Pillar's the other missing half.
yeah. I love that.
I'm friendly enough with them. I hope they're okay with that.
Oh, that we're talking about them. Of course they like it. We love you guys.
Yeah, they need to release some new material besides the EP.
It'll come, I'm sure.
Yeah, I will brainwash them into it.
Please do.
Yeah. Um, did you listen to Fallen Monarch's newest?
Way behind actually.
Okay, so that's some good like unique metalcore. Because I'm not like the biggest metalcore fan, and there's like some tropes in the genre like, all right, enough. Like I think they use their influences very tastefully, and like I was listening to it, and I didn't know where it was gonna go next.
Well, that's
Yeah,
good.
it's a
That's rare.
very unique album, and also just like super nice guys.
Was it like a full length or like an
It's a
EP kind of thing?
full
Oh, right
length, because
on.
they had said I think before that they just had an EP, and then like over the course of the year they were teasing new material to me, and I'm like okay, you got a high standard to live up to.
Stop teasing.
Stop
Start.
shit or get off the toilet.
Yes. There you go.
But no, they stopped teasing. Full length's really good. It's just up to My Missing Half to find. I think it's been like quite a while since they've had an album, so come on.
Yeah, and those homies are busy.
They are busy. I have mad respect for Nick because he has to do all that stuff with Jasta and D. Snyder.
Yeah, he's a busy boy. He's hitting the road all the time, and shout out, of course. But like, yeah, to find the time in between that, I can't even fathom
Yeah,
what that's like, you know. So I'm sure that new material will come out sooner than later.
yeah. It's just like I think it's been like 5 years, and it's just like please.
An EP, two songs,
A single.
yeah, a
I'll do a
single,
single.
yeah, just a single.
Much if any of them are listening, I love you so much. I'm sorry I missed the My Missing Half Boston show in March.
There'll be another one.
There'll always be another one. It's one of sometimes there are things that are just stories from my memoirs, and one of them is like the reason I missed that show. Anyways, I know I said like I'm an album listener. I don't care about the songs, but I want to know your favorite Drive-By Bukkake song.
Ooh, great question. This is where the band member usually says, "Oh, it's something off the brand new album, whatever." But
Yeah.
I'm gonna actually say a song that we never play anymore. Old one. It's off an album called Midnight Manslaughter. The song was called Casket Stench. It's the second track on the album. It's one of my favorite songs. It's like I think it's one of the perfect drive-by songs. It's fast. Plays a dumb slam about a minute into the song, and then a bunch of other hogwash that makes the song unnecessary. But casket stench. It just, it rolls off your tongue. It's just a casket that smells dirty,
Hmm.
So that's one of my favorites. One of my we never play it, and I'm not even gonna pretend like we're gonna play it for the anniversary show. I don't even want to get your hopes up there for anybody that's into that song, but that I love that one. Uh, our the song that we get the most requests for is the radio single, of course, Joe Pesci's "Come Dumpster." That's like the radio, the kid friendly song. That's like the safest one,
The
But
Kids Bot version goes kind of hard. Once again, thanks to Brian for coming on. I'm pretty psyched about the Drive-By Bukkake anniversary show myself. A celebration of 20 years as a band, but also of friendship, brotherhood, and weathering an ever-changing metal scene. Great venues have closed and fellow bands have called it quits. Live Nation and shitified the whole live music industry. Genesee beer at Ralph's costs more now. Respect your elders, because one day I'll be old and holding back all my Bukkake jokes on the grandkids. Anyways, I'm Theo Morgan, and have a good night. It was really nice having you on.
really, thank you. We appreciate the time. I appreciate the time. We're doing our 20th anniversary. This is one of the reasons we're doing a bunch of podcasts and shows, and you were one of the first ones who immediately said yes, hell yes. And I see that Instagram chat, and it's like we appreciate you even just taking the time. I know it's Tuesday night and we're tracking this, but it means the world to us. We're doing the 20th anniversary shows in November. Again, November 7th, Lowell, Massachusetts at Taffeta, and then November 8th in Chester, New York. All that info, brand new merch, all that dumb stuff you can find is dbbthrash.com/20/20.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got all the information there. But again, we really appreciate the opportunity to just talk and hang out with you.
Awesome. I'll see you in the fog.
Yeah, we'll see you. I'll see you at a power metal show somewhere.
Yeah.
Cool.
All
Thanks again
right.
for the opportunity.
Yep. Bye.
Take care.